So let's get rolling here. Welcome to this webinar. I know there's all kinds of things you could be doing, so I appreciate your time today. And you are in for hopefully a treat. I've been up for a long, long time. Many of you might have heard my story. You might have seen my Facebook posts. I was up for a long time till like 6 a.m. I'm just really excited about laying out this foundation for everybody. And my intention is to make it simple, basically. I think there's just so much confusion in the marketing game, in the coaching world, in building a business in general. And hopefully on today's webinar, I'm going to make it a lot more simple for all of you. So congratulations on attending this webinar. Here's what this will do for you today. During the next little bit of time that we have together, I'm going to be teaching some of the content that's directly from some of my higher level trainings that will help you build a lucrative and fulfilling and hopefully incredibly fun coaching business, even if you're starting from scratch. And in fact, I really focus on people who are starting from scratch because I think there's a lot of information out there that is just too high level for a lot of people to implement. And it's like teaching middle school material when a lot of people need elementary stuff or kindergarten stuff. And, a lot of folks that are at square one just aren't being served, in my opinion. This is, just my experience over the last several years, by a lot of the marketing that's out there, because it's just a little bit too in depth or convoluted or overwhelming or what have you. So I've really developed a passion around people who are just starting out. Now, all of these foundational concepts are going to help you no matter where you are in your business, and especially if you're moving into a new market or you're launching a new program or product or what have you. But it really helps people that are just starting out as well. So if that's you, you're in the right place. Here are my intentions for this webinar. First of all, I'm not going to overwhelm you with all kinds of confusing information on, hopefully, I'm not going to confuse you with all kinds of tactical and technological information and all that stuff. I think all that does is fill people's brains up, but it doesn't give them anything that they can really do, and it doesn't give them some sort of framework that they can implement. So instead, what we're going to do is go deeper with what I've identified as the 11 foundational concepts that are absolutely critical to the long-term sustainability of your business. And here's how we came up with this concept. Here's how I designed this webinar over the last several days, really, is, I've got some high-level coaching program or coaching clients that we just got back from Las Vegas, and we were doing a coaching certification course. And my team and I, we got together and we said, what would it take for somebody at the end of a year, of their first year in coaching, what would it take for them to have the pieces in place to make six figures? Because for whatever reason, that's the place that a lot of people are wanting to get to. And so we said, okay, this piece would have to be there, this piece would have to be there, this piece would have to be there. And that started this conversation of what are the ingredients of a six-figure business. And what we found is that it's not as complicated as a lot of people would think. So that's how this whole webinar and all this content really came about. And tonight or today, wherever it is, wherever you are in the part of the world or where you're listening to the recording, if you're on with us on the recording, I don't want to inform you. There's no shortage of information out there. And to be truthful with you, I might not share anything with you that you haven't heard before. But what I'm trying to do is synthesize it in a way that makes it easier and simpler for you to actually implement, right? Because I think a lot of people are searching for the secrets and they're searching for, the bright, shiny new tool. And that's not what it's about. It's about actually implementing the foundational concepts. So I don't want to inform you. I want to ignite you. And that's my little dorky, that's what I was doing until 6 o'clock, is trying to figure out, like, how can I bring these cool images in? But I really want to ignite you and help you just get passionate about your business, about your mission, and then give you a lot of the critical steps to have a groundedness in your business and to create the long-term sustainability so that you can scale your business up and have the leverage and income and freedom and all that stuff that's available in this industry. So let me tell you that you're in the right place on this webinar if you just know that you want to help people and you have this burning desire, like that heart on that last screen, to share your message with the world. I believe each and every one of us have been encoded with a message that's not ours to keep. We have an obligation to share it with the world. And if you're that kind of person, then awesome. You also want to be a full-time speaker, a coach, whatever that means to you. It doesn't necessarily mean doing it 40 hours. It could mean more. It could mean a lot less. So if you want to do this full-time, or maybe you already are doing this full-time, you've jumped in, and I applaud you for doing that, but you're just not earning what you want to be earning, then this information is really going to help you out. And it's critical that you are serious about success and willing to do what it takes to intentionally and strategically and foundationally build a lucrative business. And I know I'm preaching to the choir, otherwise you guys wouldn't be on the line or listening to this recording if you didn't fit in that. And you're in the wrong place. I just want to set this out from the beginning. If you just want to learn more information, this probably isn't the place for you. If you're not ready to take action and implement, because it doesn't matter if you learn stuff if you don't implement what you've learned. And if you're not willing to invest the necessary time, the necessary energy, the necessary money into building a successful business that's going to last a long time and change a lot of people's lives, then business is just probably not going to work. I mean, and I can't sugarcoat that. I think that's just the reality no matter what business you're looking to get into, but this industry is no different. You've got to be willing to go after it. Now, this is how this is going to work. We'll be going for about 75 to 90 minutes. I'll be talking fast as I already have started so I can get it in that time. If you have any questions along the way, you can type them in as you think of them, or you can just write them down. I'll do a Q&A session at the end. I'll do my best to check my dashboard to see if there's any questions that are coming in as we move along here. Or you can raise your hand if you want me to stop. I'm a teacher at heart, so if you have a question that's based on some of the content I'm talking about, I might look at it and I might stop there and clarify it, or I might just choose to answer it later on, at the end of the presentation. But feel free to engage, to interact. There's a chat on your dashboard as well, where you can type in messages and just kind of share it with the whole crowd. That chat button is going to go to everybody. It's not just going to go to me. I think you might have the ability to send me a private message. I'm not sure. I have the ability to send you a private message. I don't know if you can send it to me. I think it's just a live open forum chat room. My invitation to you is not to take notes of information. I already talked about that a little bit, because you're going to have access to all this information. I will give you a way to listen to all this information afterwards. You'll be able to get the slides. I'm recording this, so I don't want you to try to catch up or keep up rather with the information that you'll have access to afterwards anyway. What I want you to do is take notes of inspiration. I want you to take those notes that you say, this is what I've got to do, or this is why I'm on my mission, or whatever really inspires you. I'm just getting goosebumps as I'm even talking about this. That's what I want your takeaway here to be, because then you can go back and get all the information that I talk about, but you'll never be able to capture those inspired moments and be able to act on them unless you capture them while they happen. So that's what I want you to be focused on more of. And later in the presentation, I'm going to let you know how we can partner together going forward. Now, we'll be covering a lot. I'm going to go quickly, as I already said, and, just like this little turtle with a rocket. I love that ambition, though. Here's this little guy. He's like, you know what? I don't care what I am. I'm going to throw some wheels on. I'm going to strap a rocket to myself and let's go. That's the kind of attitude that I think we need in life. He's safe. He's got a little helmet on, but he's like, let's push the boundaries. Let's go after it. I just love this picture. And so anyway, I'm going to go quickly. You're going to have access to go back and listen to the information, as I already said. And definitely stick around to the end, because there's two things that are going to happen. At the end of the call, I'm going to show you a way that you can get all the MP3 or get the MP3 recording so that you can listen to it again later and catch anything you didn't catch or just reinforce your learning. But I'm also going to give you a really powerful template. It's a sales formula, basically. It's called the 15 Pillars of Persuasion. And I want you to use this anytime you're in a sales situation, anytime you need to be influential in leadership at all. This persuasion template and persuasion formula is really, really powerful. So stick around to the end, and I'll just give you that for just kind of, as my gift to you for sticking around with this webinar. Now, I want to start with what's possible in this industry. It is absolutely possible to create a hugely substantial and powerful income and business while sharing your message with the world, or your knowledge or your wisdom, and just helping people along the way in the process. That's absolutely possible. And you can make a lot of money. I mean, there's a lot of skilled coaches that charge between 300, $500. And I know plenty of people who charge several $1,000s an hour. I know several people charge a couple $100 an hour. It's not that you have to fit into that standard, but the bottom line is coaching is a very lucrative industry. And what I want to show you too is that a six-figure business is actually not as difficult and complicated as a lot of people think. The more complicated your business is, the harder it's going to be to become lucrative and to hit and cross that six-figure mark. I promise you that. I'll explain a lot more in detail later. But especially with today's technology, all the guidance that's available, the support, I mean, this is much easier than it's ever been in history. And I don't know what your purpose for building a business is, whether it's just the fulfillment for helping other people, but there's definitely a lot of freedom and lifestyle this industry affords that's second to none. And here's the cool thing. It's all been figured out. We've been trying at this thing. We've been testing marketing strategies. And I think all you've got to do is just plug in. But here's the real problem. The truth of the matter is the vast majority of coaches and trainers get into this game to change lives, but most of them are never, ever going to get their business going. And I think it's probably 95% or more. I would put my existence on 98 to 99% of people that become coaches and trainers don't ever make the income they want to make. And probably at least that many don't ever even become profitable. So I want to help you avoid a lot of that stuff. Most of the time they get stuck in the quicksand of the advanced tactics or the scary technology, and then their message dies inside of them. The people who are seeking them out don't get help. A lot of times the coach or the trainer ends up quitting. You just kind of lick your wounds and you retreat. And I've been there, trust me. I'll tell you a little bit more. I was there for several years after I started my business. And all this needs to stop. We've got people out there that need our help, and we got to go find them. Now, let me set a general framework for the most common reasons for failure that I see specifically in this industry is that by nature, people who are drawn to the world of coaching, we generally want to help people, but we're repelled at the same time by the idea of marketing and the whole notion of selling ourselves, right? I mean, that's a whole different ballgame than selling something else that is a product for somebody else or a different company. When you put yourself on the line and now you have to sell yourself and tell everybody else what you can do for them, it's a whole different ball of wax. So that can be really challenging and really frustrating and really uncomfortable for a lot of people that are drawn to making a difference in the world. And then a lot of times, I think, maybe most human beings have a little bit of this in them. We're stubborn and we want to try to reinvent the wheel. We don't want help. We want to figure it out on our own. And that's just a huge, huge mistake, especially in this industry and especially in today's world of technology, where things are changing. I mean, the internet is flipping over every couple years. And so for you to figure it out on your own, and I tried to do that for a couple years, so I know what that's like. Once you figure it out, the game has probably already changed, right? So plug into the people that can really help you. A lot of times people get stuck just collecting the information, but they don't have the implementation systems, whether it's technology, the shopping carts. There's so many quitting points in this industry that people can get stuck on. And then from an internal standpoint, there's a huge amount of uncertainty. People just simply don't know what to do. They don't know what model they should follow. And so they end up following other people that they see, which is a huge mistake. They haven't done the foundational stuff that's necessary before they even begin marketing. They don't have confidence in themselves. They don't have confidence in their abilities. And all of that uncertainty will spill over into any marketing that you do. You can be a marketing expert, but if you try to market uncertainty, you'll never succeed. I don't care how good your marketing tactics are. You cannot succeed by marketing uncertainty. And another piece is overwhelm. I've already sort of alluded to that. And a lot of people have said this to me. It would just be nice to have, instead of going to all these individual programs, it would just be nice to have it all come into one place, right? Because I don't know what to do first. And that's part of what's gotten me on this journey, is to take a look at what's out there and how can we be a solution to that. And then no matter what business you're in, there's always going to be inner game obstacles for people. It's the fears, it's the doubts, it's the limiting beliefs, it's I'm not good enough, it's questioning yourself, questioning the process. Being on the personal development and growth journey itself is a challenge for a lot of people, and you've got to get a handle on that, because if you can't show up to help other people as clear and and clean as you possibly can, then it's always going to be a difficult journey. And then you can't be congruent by trying to sell coaching to other people when you're not staying in the game yourself as well. So those are the general problems that I see. And when I do surveys and just talk to coaches, what I find is that most people just want to do the work they're passionate about, right? We just want to help people. We just want to have something simple, something clear, something easy to follow. Obviously, we want to make good money. And what I found is that most coaches' goal is actually multiple six figures. When I ask, most coaches say, I want $200,000 to $300,000 now, like this year. Let's get it going fast. But the problem is, I think a lot of times they think that that has to be a complicated model, and it's really not. The simpler your model, the quicker you can grow. Now, you're going to have to get to a point where you're going to have to be able to scale it out. But in the first phase of growth, simplicity is much better than complexion or con complexion. I don't know if that means complicatedness, but I always use complexion as like your face, right? But anyway, so this is about keeping it simple, and it'll actually be easier to do it that way, obviously, and it'll be more powerful the simpler that you keep your business model in the beginning, the beginning phase of growth. So let me just pre-frame this whole thing by saying, listen, you can absolutely do this. It's possible to make a great living by helping others, especially if you plug into the resources you have and the odds are stacked in your favor. As long as you have the right tools, guidance, and preparation, like this guy right here that's about to jump out of the plane, and some people told him some stuff that might happen, so he decided to strap himself onto a toilet and have some other um, just well, anyway, I probably don't need to narrate this cartoon for you. um, okay, now I just got a feedback from somebody that says my voice is sounding computerized, like I'm a robot. If you can still hear me clearly, can you raise your hand? If you can still hear me clearly. Okay, I'm getting a lot of hands. Actually, almost everybody else is raising their hand. So I apologize, Kim. It must be some kind of issue maybe on your computer. So sorry about that. If it gets to where you can't hear, you might have to just log back out and log back in. So here's why I'm here today. I am so passionate. Some of you might not have heard me say, but I was up till 6 o'clock this morning, then got back up. Actually, I was up to about 6:45, got back up at 7:45, and I've just got so much passion and energy for this because I know that you're a person of service. I know you want to help as many people as possible, and I just want to hold that space open for you so that you can bet on yourself, so you can get in the game, so you can get into a good fight. And I'll tell you a little bit why this is so important to me, and it's because of a near-death experience that I had earlier on. But it's important that we get into a good fight for everything that we have, our goals and dreams. I think too often people go to their graves with unspent potential, music yet to be played. And not only do we need to show up and play a bigger game for ourselves personally, for our families, and everybody that we're modeling for, especially as parents, we got to do this for our kids. But this is who we need to show up for as our prospective clients, because this is, I think, one of the biggest problems in the world today is that people are not willing to go after it. They're not willing to take action, right? And I believe that each and every one of us is meant to play a bigger game. And I don't want you to play the game with the odds stacked against you. So I'm on a mission. I want to start a revolution in this whole coaching world. I really want to repave the road for new coaches. And that's what I'm super passionate about. I'll, obviously allude to that end throughout this whole presentation. But here's my goal. My goal is to create 1,000 full-time, highly successful coaches. I'm all about results. I'm all about implementation. Let's lock arms and let's do this thing, right? Like, let's get after it. Let's strap that rocket on our back like that turtle and let's go. But I know there's, anyway, I already mentioned the problems in the industry, so I'm not going to go back to those. Let me tell you a little bit about me. I'm just going to spend a few minutes. Many of you already know my story, but for those of you that don't, I want to tell you a little bit about me just so that you can see where I'm coming from and, why, what I've been through and why you should listen to me basically because of what I've been through in this industry. So first and foremost, on a personal note, I'm a husband and a father first. There's a picture of my wife, Sybil, on the right-hand side, and my daughter, McKenna, and my son, Exley. They are my pride and joy. That they're why I live and breathe, and I'm just so happy with them being in my life. But I got onto this game. I my whole life changed when I was 13 years old on December 17th, 1986, is when I sort of started my journey toward this whole world of personal development. And what happened was I was riding my bike to school and I pulled out into traffic to avoid getting hit by another car. And I got hit and run through doing by a car doing about 50 miles an hour. And by the details of the incident, the accident, there's no way I should have survived. So here I was, this 13-year-old kid. I was high on life, and I should have died that day. And it caused me to take a look at everything in my life from a different perspective, from a mortal set of lenses. And I looked at my parents differently. I looked at my friends differently. And I just made a decision to myself in that moment that no matter how long it took, no matter what it took, I was going to do everything I could to live a life of success and greatness and significance and not settle for mediocrity. And so I made that sort of sacred promise to myself. And that got me into the world of goal setting. And I started to read books at a pretty young age in this industry and so forth. And my mission has been born out of that drama, basically. And I think that's what happens for most of us, right? I mean, my mission is now to empower people to live, lives of passion and purpose and presence. And I think that's what's missing in the world today. And about 7 years ago, a little bit more, I got into the coaching realm, and we did really well the first year, did incredibly bad the second 2 years. I'll tell you a little bit more about that. But we've done some pretty cool things in this industry. I actually didn't know this until about a year ago when I looked back and I was collecting some data. I didn't know that we'd actually crossed $1 million. And it's not the sexiest story out on the planet, but it's also not too bad. We've done over $1.3 million in sales over the last 7 years, mostly over the last 6 years. And basically, it's just by getting in motion. I mean, nothing's going to happen unless you get in motion, obviously. And about 2 years ago, my world was rocked yet again. And I'll tell the story quickly. This is a half-hour story if I tell you all the details. But my father was diagnosed with pancreatic cancer about 2.5 years ago. And he ended up coming down and living with us. And for the last 3 months, he lived in a hospital bed in our living room. And when the cancer had basically taken all of his will to live away, um, I had a chance to have this amazing conversation with him. I knew it was about time. I actually asked hospice to pull some pain patches off of him so he could bring his awareness back, so I could have one final talk with my dad. And we had this beautiful conversation. I was holding his hand for an hour and telling him how much I love him and how much he meant to me and everybody else. And I got the opportunity to ask him, I said, Dad, what can I do to live your legacy once you're gone? Once you've passed, what can I do to honor you? And with no hesitation, he just said, Shawnee, be who you can be, do what you can do, and just live a good life. And he shook his head and he gave this little smile as though he was delivering this, deathbed wisdom to me. And those words landed so strong for me. And I felt like he had given me this torch that I needed to share with the rest of the world. And I say these stories, not to make it all about me, but to really impress upon all of us that part of who we are and part of who we need to show up as in the world, especially in business, is our authentic selves. Each and every one of us has a story. Your story might not include any of the details that my story includes, but we all have a story of drama, and we have a story of pain, and we have a moment that we all decided that enough is enough, and we were going to jump in the ring, and we were going to do anything that we possibly could to live the life that we know was designed for us, that was meant for us to manifest the things that we can do on this planet, so that when we're done, we can look back and say, I gave it my best shot. And you've got to bring that to your business. If you don't bring that to your business, especially in today's day and age, people won't trust you. You've got to create that trust. And the best way to create the trust is just be human. So one of the things that I teach all my students to do is tell your story. I actually have my students write a long, 1,000, 2,000, sometimes 3,000 or more, 10,000 word story of your life. And so much magic happens when you really get clear about who you are and who can you help and how can I be of service to this world. And when you dig down deep inside to your core and find your message and find your being, then you can really come out swinging, so to speak. You can really light up what's inside of you and leave your mark on this world. So I want all of you to get close to you, get close to who you are, get close to your story, and share that thing. Now, a little bit more details in terms of the coaching world. Honestly, if any of you don't know me, you have to be asking the question, who the heck is this guy, and why in the world should I listen to him? And I'm not here to like toot my own horn, but I do want to tell you a little bit about my early phases so that you know what I've been through, and it'll put a pre-frame and a context to everything that I'm talking about, because I'm really passionate about a lot of the things that I teach, and some of them might be a little controversial and a little bit off the beaten path, but it's because of my experience. So in January of 2005, I decided that I wanted to be a speaker, and I went to a seminar called College Success Boot Camp. And that's when I decided, I really want to make a go for this. I've got a message inside of me. Let's go for it. I didn't get in motion. I just, had an aha, but then I sat on my hands for a long time and really didn't take action on it. Then later that year, I went to a Jack Canfield event called Breakthrough to Success, and Jack really helped me find my purpose at a deep core, really clear level of who I am and what I'm here to do and my gift that I can share with the world. So that decision that I made just got deeper and deeper, and I was closer to taking action on it, but I was still holding myself back. And then later that year, I was in a seminar called The Ultimate Business Breakthrough with a lady named Melanie Benson Strick. And we were doing this goal setting process. And I came face to face with all my fears. I actually started crying. I had a breakdown. I didn't know what to do. But luckily, there was a co-facilitator in the room, and he took me outside and he helped me identify where all this fear was coming from. And it was just this limiting belief and this story that I had in my head that success is hard and I'm not good enough and I'll never succeed. And, all this poor me kind of story that I think a lot of people are dealing with. And in about a 15-minute period of time, he took me through a process that helped me get rid of that. And it was the most transformational experience I'd ever had. And I opened my eyes. I felt like the world was clearer. I could see clearer. I felt like, I'd taken 50 pounds off of my shoulders and I was ready to go. And a couple months later, I emailed this guy back. His name was Matt. And I said, Matt, I don't know what the heck you did to me, dude, but was that legal? Because I feel different. Everybody sees me different. And what was that? So he told me that it was this curriculum, neurolinguistics, and you learn how to coach people and you learn how to change your unconscious mind and change the limiting beliefs. And I mean, I was sold. He could have told me to go anywhere. I would have followed because of the experience I had with him. But he told me to go get certified in this curriculum. And I did. And I went. And I just wanted to share it with everybody. So in February of 2006, I got serious. I made a commitment. I booked a venue and I said, I'm doing an event. And at the time, I wanted to teach high school athletes how to maximize their athletic ability. I wanted to teach them how to visualize and how to set goals and all that stuff. And what happened was, it was really cool. In that room, there were a couple ladies from Mary Kay who just showed up at the event. They didn't know me. I didn't know them. And afterwards, they said, I don't know what you said that was different than what we said, but we got a lot of people out back there who are crying and taking notes. And we just want to know if you'll come share this stuff with us too. And I said, absolutely not. I'm not going to teach people how to sell lipstick and makeup. No way. I want to teach these athletes how to, beat on their chest and set goals and rah. That was my just male macho-ness coming out. So they said, okay. But a couple months later, nothing was happening in my business. And so I ended up getting back to them and say, okay, I'll do this one event. And I went to this event. And the reason I'm telling you a little bit of details on this one, because I'll refer back to it later on when I talk about the clicking point. So I went to this event and I just fell in love with the energy, with the excitement in the room. They liked my content. And I really started to focus in the Mary Kay world. And later on that year, I dubbed myself as the Pink Caddy coach. I was doing Pink Caddy universities. And in January of 2007, I decided to do my own seminars. I started to put together coaching packages and our business exploded. We did multiple six figures that year and we just rocking. And then in 2008, my ego got a hold of me. I decided that I want to chase money instead of chasing significance. And I changed a lot of things in my business. And thankfully, the universe basically pulled the rug out from under me. And it was like, okay, big guy, if you think that's what business is about, watch this. And we just collapsed. I mean, it was an implosion that I wasn't prepared for. emotionally, financially, in any way, shape, or form. It led to later on the following year, we couldn't survive and we ended up filing bankruptcy. And it was that time that I really went internal and asked myself some really deep, powerful, painful questions about who am I? How am I showing up in the world? What is it that I can do? What can I offer? And what do I want to do? So it was in this year and a half period of deep, deep pain. And I had to deal with my own fears around not being able to provide for my family as a man, as a husband, as a father. And I didn't like who I saw in the mirror. And there were plenty of times when I was licking my wounds, like I talked about earlier, and I wanted to quit. If somebody would have came along with a job that could have just paid my bills, I would have been out in a second, because a year and a half of that tension, I just couldn't handle it anymore. And so I wanted to quit. But that's when I learned pretty much everything that I needed to learn in order to right the ship. So later on in 2010, we started to get healthy again. We started to, become cash only in our business, because I got all my credit cards taken away. And if you get all your credit taken away, you have to make different decisions and better decisions, right? So because we were cash only, I learned a lot about business that I never would have learned when money was just coming out of every orifice that I had and coming in every day, thousands and thousands of dollars just coming in like crazy. I would have never learned the lessons that I needed to learn. So at the moment, it was painful, but I'm really glad that I went through that time period. And that's the only reason that I can stand up and help anybody, is because of that, undertow of pain and bankruptcy and all that I experienced. And then I got into Jack's Train the Trainer program, Jack Canfield, and I was, really instrumental in helping a lot of people get confidence in what they can do in a training room and what they can do as a coach and so forth. But what I found is that there were a lot of people, no matter what they, learned in any program. This is in no way, shape, or form, any kind of negative take on Jack's Train the Trainer program. I think it's the best training program out there on the planet. So I just, want to make sure that it doesn't sound like I'm bagging on the program. But what I found is there were a lot of people that left the program, and when they went out on their own, they still struggled. And it's because I think they were just trying to do too much too fast. They were being too complicated. They were overwhelmed by the information. They just weren't doing the foundational stuff. So it was in that space that I started to pay attention more to the brand new coach, because I had forgotten being that new coach. And I started talking to people who were just starting. They didn't know what they were going to market. They didn't know what they were going to do. And that's when I really developed my passion for the brand new coach. And that is basically a perfect transition into this marketing map. So what I've put together is, basically looking back after 7 years in this business, what is it that somebody would need to do in as clear a condensed format as possible to create the six-figure success, or more or less, depending on what the success level is for you, but a significant full-time income generating leveraged business. What would it take? And I'm a big fan of just do this approaches, right? I don't want a bunch of information. I have to sift through it all and try to decide what to do first, what to do second. I'm a big fan of somebody telling me, okay, forget all those things that are clouding your mind and fractioning, fractionalizing, whatever I'm trying to say, your focus, and just focus on this one thing. And when you're done with that one thing, then do this other thing. And then when you're done with that, then do this other thing. So that's the way I work best. And I think a lot of people need that. So what I want to deliver to you now is really the meat of this marketing map for you to build a thriving and fulfilling six-figure business. And you'll see that there are 11 steps here. You follow the steps. You don't want to hit any of those skulls, right? Those are the dangers. That's what I tripped over, and that's what led to bankruptcy and thousands and thousands and thousands of dollars of losses and lessons and pain and stuff. So I want to help you navigate around those things and really just give you a map that you can follow, because you don't have to have been in this game for a long period of time to be able to follow a map. So I think if you know how to read a map and you know how to just, follow pretty simple instructions, you can make it in this game. So the first level, and you'll see I have to stop frequently to remember to water my throat because I get going too much. So that's what those pauses are if you hear it. The first piece here, and this is as sequential as I can put them. I would suggest you do them in this order, because a lot of people just bounce around. They do the things that are sexy, but they're not ready to do it yet. So the first piece, this is the most critical piece. If you don't have certainty in your business, anything else you try to do after that will either be futile, like it will be almost useless, or it will be not as good as it could be, or it'll actually be dangerous. For a lot of people, going out of turn becomes dangerous, because if you don't have the money to sustain some of the mistakes that you make by going out of turn, you're going to go out of business. And I've seen coach after coach after coach, talented people make that mistake. And it's because they didn't lay the proper foundation first. So certainty, whoops, went backwards there. Certainty is the first piece. Now, when I talk about certainty, I think there are three main things that you've got to be rock solid clear with. And the first one is your seeker. And what I mean by that is, who is the person that's out there right now seeking the knowledge that you have in your head? Now, this is different than identifying the person you want to teach, identify the person you want to sell, because that's coming from your perspective. That's coming from your ego. That's coming from your filter. I want you to identify the person who needs the knowledge that you have in your head. And when you do that, you will be in a much better position to be engaged, to be emotionally attracted to this person, and have a lot more clarity, a lot more conviction. And what I've noticed is that when people are not convicted, they tend to quit easier. There's not this emotional attachment to this person that they're out there wanting to help, right? So that's what the very first thing is that I would suggest you do is, who is this person, and where are they, and how can I help them? And that'll just totally shift your energy. The second piece that you've got to have clarity on is your skill set. What is it that you can bring to the world? Do you have confidence that you can help somebody? If you don't have confidence that you can help somebody, it's going to be very, very difficult for you to try to tell people that they should hire you. I mean, it's going to be very difficult and challenging for you to say, hey, look at my coaching program, this is what I can do. Because if you don't believe that, then they won't believe that. Your uncertainty is going to rub off to them. So it's critical that you have the certainty in your skill set, that you know what to do, that you have a framework, and you know where you're going to take them. So all of that certainty can come out in your marketing. Certainty is very, very contagious in marketing, and most people don't have it. And along with those two pieces, you've also got to have certainty in your solutions. And what I mean by that is, what are you going to offer? What are your coaching packages going to look like? What are you going to charge? What are you going to name them? How are you going to position yourself? What's your branding going to be, right? What are the actual things that you're going to offer to people? So these are three distinct areas that you've got to have certainty in. And if you don't have certainty in these areas, my advice to you is, don't take another step until you do. Most people are like, okay, well, I'll get that stuff. Yeah, I'll learn the skills. I'll get the confidence. And then they just go after all these other steps, and it's all watered down, and it's not as powerful and implementable as it could be. And it creates a lot of scar tissue. It creates a lot of quitting points. It creates a lot of frustration. It creates a lot of lack of clarity. And you're never going to be able to go back and start over with a new filter. All of those failures, all of those frustrations are going to stick with you. That's why it's incredibly important for you to go step by step and don't jump ahead. It's a huge mistake that a lot of people make. Let me share with you Alyssa Bakar. She told me that she did this process of really identifying who her seeker is, and she says it gave my business a jolt of clarity and momentum and confidence that really was the turning point for her cash flow. And within a couple of weeks, she was working with this exact person that she identified. You've got to get intimately involved with these people. You got to know what their perspective is of the world. I think your most valuable asset is your seeker's perspective. So Alyssa did the work. She got clear on who her seeker is and what her perspective was. And within a couple of weeks, she had her, and she actually texted me or sent me her very first like $3,000 check from somebody that was manifested into her life, basically because she got clear on who it was that she was looking for. It's like if you go out into the world on the freeway and you're looking for red cars, you're going to find them. But if you're just looking for cars and you hope they might be red, you're just not going to find them that way. So clarity is huge, and Alyssa, really just felt the effects of that. So the second step here is you got to understand that the coaching business, one-on-one coaching and group coaching, is really run by consultations. The best thing you can do is get people on the phone and talk to them and find out about their filters. You do what I call seeker interviews. You do a little bit of market research. You find out what's going on, and you do a consultation with them. You ask them what they want help with. You ask them what their goals are. I've got a whole consultation flow that I've developed that helps coaches just really go through the steps. Say this, then say this, then say this, then ask this, then offer this. And it's a strategic flow that's really important. And when you do that, you're going to get clients, and you're going to find out what other people are wanting so that you can continually tweak your offerings based on what the market is wanting. It's really dangerous to just say, this is what I want to sell, and let me go find some people who might want to buy it. What I want you to do is, stack the deck in your favor and sell what people want. And the only way to do that is to get intimately involved with their perspective. So the consultation strategy, number one, has to be simple. You've got to have clarity on it. It's got to be easy to do. It's got to be short. One of the painful lessons that I learned is the longer your free consultations are, the less clients you'll get. And that is across the board with anybody I've ever talked to who's done free consultations as a part of their marketing strategy. The longer they go, the less money you'll make. It's just because we try to solve too many problems. We get convoluted. We talk ourselves into confusion, and a confused mind doesn't act. So it's about keeping it simple, keeping it short, and keeping it strategic. And as I said, there's a strategic flow that you can follow to make these consultations really easy. And let me tell you about Jen Wensky. She, like, early on, she took action, and all she was doing was a bunch of these consultations, and she started to kick butt. So she basically says, after doing just the complimentary consultations, she had the confidence. She knew the coaching packages. We had already done work on the first step, which is her seeker, and she was really clear about that. Then all she started to do is consultations, and she says she now has 10 full-time clients. She got 10 more clients in a group coaching program that she has. She's earned well over $6,000. And all of that is just in 2 months. And all of that is just with these first two steps, you guys, that I'm talking about. So what I'm trying to get, across is this is really, really powerful if you do it slow and you do it intentionally and you do it to completion. But if you breeze through these steps, you can go through the entire program and not have any clients because you don't have certainty. These steps are going to build on each other. So my biggest caution is that you don't jump ahead and try to move on to phase 3 before phase 2 is complete, right? All right, the third piece here, the third X, is conversions. And there's a couple levels to conversions. Number one, we want to talk about conversions on your websites, on your pages. There are many different kinds of pages out there. One of them is called an opt-in page. And what that means is you want to have people go to your website and then opt in to your list. I'm sure everybody on this line, well, you wouldn't be even on this webinar unless you didn't do that with my list. So we all have the experience of going in and opting into somebody's list. And what we're wanting to do is somebody goes to your page, they're a visitor, and we want to convert them into a subscriber, right? Somebody that joins your list. And then you want to give them a lot of content. You want to engage them, and you want to convert them from a subscriber to a fan. And you do that by sharing your content. And finally, once they're a fan of yours, there's going to be times when you're going to make sales. You're going to, you're going to give offers in a bunch of different ways. And in those moments, you've got to be able to convert your fans into clients, right? So there's 3 levels of conversions that are taking place here in this little framework on websites, on pages. But then there's also the conversion strictly in a sales sense of you having a presentation and you're going to offer something to somebody, right? And that could be a live speaking event, could be a keynote presentation, could be you speaking on somebody else's stage. just talking to local organizations. It could be a teleseminar where you get on a conference line and you give some kind of presentation. At the end of it, you make some sort of offer. It could be a webinar like we're doing here. Same thing as a teleseminar. It's just the presentation comes to life. So you can see, the scroll and the treasure map in the background and all my slides and so forth. But it's basically the same skeleton of a presentation that you're going to use to convert people into raving fans and eventually clients. And if you don't have these presentations clear, then you're not ready for traffic yet. You're not ready to get in front of people yet. Now, one thing that you'll notice, we're 3 steps into this, we've done zero marketing. You don't need a website at this point. You don't need a social media strategy at this point. You don't need to be paying any advertising costs at this point. You don't need to be actually doing any of these things. You're still at the planning phase, right? You've done no marketing at this point other than the consultation, but that doesn't feel like marketing. That just feels like, hey, let me do some market research, right? But you're not doing any of the marketing stuff that a lot of people are teaching, a lot of people are instinctually doing. Most people don't think that getting somebody on the phone and ask them questions is a form of marketing. And it really isn't a form of traditional marketing, but it's really powerful to get clients. So the other piece of conversion is this persuasion template. It's not another piece of conversion, but it's the underlying template in all of those conversions that I was just talking about. And I alluded to my persuasion template. It's called the 15 pillars of persuasion. And all you got to do to get that whole thing delivered to you is just stick around. I'll show you how to get that at the end of the webinar. All right. Step number 4, we're still not marketing, is you got to have a cornerstone product or program. And what that means is a product or program that you're going to base your beginning phases of marketing on. And it can be a book if you've written a book. If you haven't written a book, you don't have to wait several months or a couple years to have a book done. There's all kinds of things nowadays that can give you that cornerstone product and give you the expertise. You can do an ebook and have that done in a week if you wanted. You can do an audio product in a few days. You can put together a 4-part CD series that you can have ready to go. You could do some sort of home study course that's just a little bit more engaged. I would suggest you do one of these 3 unless there's something else that, there's a reason to do instead of one of these 3. But what we want is something that we can basically plant our flag with and say, this is how I'm going to get in the door. This is how I'm going to make my initial mark. This is how I'm going to attract people. And your cornerstone product or program is going to be based on the seeker interviews and studying your market, studying the perspective of your seeker that you've already been doing. So here's the cool thing. You're actually not creating the content for this stuff. Your seeker is. They're telling you what they want. You're just answering questions. So if you do enough seeker interviews, you're going to be in a position where you're going to be able to say, wow, this kind of person really wants to know A, B, C, D, and E. So I'm going to create a program that answers A, B, C, D, and E. It is the easiest thing to do. It's so easy that you might actually feel like it can't be powerful because it's too easy. And a lot of us think that success is supposed to be hard. But that's the way to do it in a simple fashion so that your seeker tells you what they want to buy and your seeker builds the program for you with you, and you just fill in the gaps. You just fill in the blanks, but they tell you what the blanks are. And too often people do it from their perspective. They write a book that they want to write. They focus on what they want to teach instead of focusing on what their seeker wants to learn. And you might get lucky and they might be the exact same thing, but I'd say 9 times out of 10, it's not. Even if it's the same content, your seeker might language it differently. And one little word or phrase here and there could make all the difference in the world between somebody being captivated by a message of yours and somebody just going, dime a dozen for this product. But when you know what people want and you give it to them, man, this game is really, really fun. So that's your cornerstone product and program. Now we're getting close. We're still not marketing yet in the traditional sense. The next step here, the 5th step, is a content funnel. So what you want to do is you want to create this funnel approach of how you're going to get people into your community, how you're going to get them in your funnel. And that's going to be comprised of freebies where you might offer something for somebody's name and email address, or you might create like a free CD that you hand out to people. You might do a free teleseminar series that's designed intentionally and strategically to move them through your funnel. But this has to be intentional, and most people uh, really hold back with the freebies. They say, I'm just going to give them the free information. Listen, my advice is for you to give your best stuff for free up front. When you have people in the funnel, you can serve them. But if they're not impressed by your free information, they probably won't get into your community and they won't be around to get to your other levels of information, right? So don't hold back. The next piece here is now you're going to get into your tiered offerings. That means like you have a lower tier price. Maybe it's a $20 product or program, or it could be all the way up to $100, depending on your market, depending on your offerings. Then you've got a mid-tier price. Maybe that's a group coaching program or a home study course. Maybe that's $100 or $500 or somewhere in between. And then you've got a higher priced program. And that's usually, several $1,000s. And it could be private coaching, or it could be a mastermind retreat, or it could just be something that takes people on a deeper journey. And most new coaches think that they have to wait a long time before offering those higher tiered programs. But my experience is actually the exact opposite of what you might think. My experience is those are actually the easier programs to sell. So if I had a client that said, I need to make $3,000 by Friday, I would not have them write books, or articles, or try to sell CDs or sell teleseminars. I would not have them try to sell, hundreds of products. I would have them try to find one client for $3,000. And that would be way easier than trying to do all this other stuff that's, takes more time to put together and so forth. So it's a lot easier to get the higher dollar amounts than most people think. And you get more profit that way, right? So I want to kind of challenge the way that you might be thinking if you've been stuck, or the way that you might have been learning some of this information, so that we can, really get you where you want to be as fast as possible. And then a piece that we all know, but most of us don't put enough time and energy into and intention, is follow-up. Follow-up has to be a part of your sales process. They say that people need to hear something 5 to 7 times. Actually, I just heard a study the other day that said it's now, in the age of the internet, more like 12 or 14 times before people take action. So you've got to have follow-up as a main part of your strategy. All right, the last pre-marketing piece here is campaign strategy. This is really critical. What I mean by campaign strategy is, how are you going to deliver your information, your content, and then make your offer? And there's basically a framework that looks like this. You give, then you give, then you give, then you offer. And the details on this could be so incredibly varied based on who you are, who your seeker is, how you're going after them. Are you doing this online? Are you doing it in person? So this is a super high level framework. But that's basically what you got to do. You got to give, and then offer something. What a lot of people do is they just sell, and then people get turned off because they're not ever getting anything, without a sales pitch behind it. Or people just give, and they don't ever make an offer to their community, once a year or once every 6 months. And that's not good enough either. You're doing your clients, your seekers, a disservice if you're not offering them things that can help them change their life. So this might be 3 videos and then a sales video. This might be 3 articles and then take them to a sales page. This might be 3 CDs delivered over the course of a month, and then the 4th month you offer something to them. This can be really varied. It doesn't always have to be 3 pieces there. It could be 2 pieces. It could be 1 piece of content, especially if you're selling lower dollar amount stuff, and then you just make the offer. But overall, I want you to think about, what can I give before I make an offer? I've got a question here that came in a little earlier ago. It says, what if your seeker is different than who you seem to attract? If I had to choose one or the other, I would put more weight in who I seem to attract, Because even if you are set out to serve a certain person, what you'll find, no matter no matter who jumps in front of you, you're going to be able to do the work that you want to do with this other person, with the new person. So in other words, if you decide that you want to go after and really help person A, but you keep attracting person B, what you'll almost always find is the same work you wanted to do with person A, you'll be doing it with person B anyway. And so you'll be able to get that fulfillment. And usually if we decide who we want to go after, that's coming from our own perspective. So I would generally, more often than not, say go after the person that you just naturally are attracting, because that's easier to be sustainable. There's an energy thing happening there, and it's just a lot easier to keep that up, right? All right, so that's your campaign strategy. And as I said, like, we haven't even marketed yet, but now we're ready. Now we've got confidence. We know who we're going after. We know where they are. We know what their perspective is. We're clear on what our offers are going to be. We're clear on how we're going to interact with them when they get into the funnel. Now we can start looking at exposure. Now we can start looking at bringing people in. But what most people do is they want to race here. They want to race to this marketing piece. How can I just get in front of a bunch of people? How can I do teleseminars? How can I offer my stuff? And they've leapt over all of this other foundational work, and they don't have certainty. So they jump into the marketing game, which is not an easy game, with no certainty, and they get their heads bit off, or they collect a bunch of failure. They beat themselves up. And then they come walking back to square one. Their clothes are all ripped and torn, and they don't know what the heck happened, but they know they don't want to go back in that fire again. And let me tell you, on an emotional level, that's really tough for most people to get around. So I would rather you delay your success, but make sure you're successful, than to try to jump into success and fail and then deal with the emotional scar tissue that comes with that. And here's what I'll also say. Most people think that spending the time to do these foundational pieces is going to take a long time. In reality, you're going to get where you want to go way faster. Even if it feels like you're going slow in the beginning, you're going to go slow faster than if you tried to go fast. So you've heard me harp on this several times. That is one of the biggest mistakes that people make, is they don't slow down and do the foundation, and then they get burned in the process. But when you've done the foundation, when you've completed each phase before going on to the next, and you get here, I'm telling you, you're ready. You're going to be magnetic. You're going to be attractive. You're going to be chomping at the bit. You're going to be emotionally attached to your work. You're going to know who you are. You're going to know who you're seeking, or who's seeking you, and who you're serving, rather. And you're going to have this certainty that shows up with just like, bam, here I am. And now it's time to let people know about you. And there's two things that I'm going to talk about. One of them is just a real high level approach to getting offline community, or offline exposure, rather, like in your local community. So one of the things that I did in the very beginning, I would suggest all of you do this, is reach out to your local organizations, go to networking events, go to networking groups like BNI or Meetup or any local networking groups that you have. Go to schools, get in front of anybody that you can in the beginning, and just talk and talk and talk and talk and talk and talk and talk. Now, this might fly in the face of what I said a little bit earlier around your seeker, but even though you have clarity on your seeker, I think in the beginning, when you're just going, I think you just talk to whoever will listen for a short phase of your career. And the reason is, you might not be in front of a group of people that match your ideal seeker, but everybody in that audience knows somebody who does know your seeker. So you're practicing speaking, you're getting out, you're making yourself known, and you will be getting referrals, you'll be getting ideas, you'll be solidifying your content. You'll have so much positive, powerful stuff that happens as you just get out and get some community exposure, that it'll be totally worth it. And then you just follow the trail. People will tell you, you should go to here and you should talk to this person. You should do this, because they'll want to help, especially in your local community. So that's as much as I want to go into an offline, because as soon as we get past that, I mean, there's like tons of different things you can do. And I want to keep this call to less than an hour and 15 minutes or an hour and a half. Otherwise this would be a 9-hour training call. Online, what we want to do is we want to start getting some consistent traffic now coming to your site. Because at this point, you've got a website with a free offer. You're set up to grab people's names and email addresses. You're set up to deliver content to them as soon as they join you. You're ready to start accepting traffic, right? With the consistent traffic, I'm going to give you 5 sources that you can get consistent traffic from. This is not an exhausted list. There are dozens of ways you can get traffic, but these are 5 of the ones that I think are the most powerful and the easiest to implement with a lot of clarity. And a lot of you are already doing some of this stuff. Number 1, obviously, is social media. That's a way to get people to go to your website just by telling them you put up a blog or you're doing a phone call or what have you, and they're going to click through. Another one is content marketing. And what that is you can write articles and post them on sites out there all around the internet and have a link at the bottom of the article for people to come to your site if they want more information. There's sites that cater to e-zine publishers where people are looking for articles for their e-zines, and they might find your article on parenting that they're going to put in their parenting e-zine, and you don't know who their subscribers are. You don't even know that person. They just come snatch up your content and put your link into their e-zine and share it with all their list. You can do the same similar thing with videos where you do 2 to 3 minute videos and you put it up on YouTube, and there's some other video sites, although YouTube is definitely the best by far. And in the description, you've got links where people can come back to your website. So the purpose of the content marketing is share with people what you know and entice them to come back to your website and join the conversation and join your community. I don't want you to focus very much on search engine optimization, but so many people have heard about it. So many people ask about it that I at least want to spend 30 seconds talking about it. What search engine optimization is, SEO, is when you get clear online of what keywords you're wanting to attract. Like for me, if I want to attract new coaches, I will put the phrase new coaches on my website. I'll put it in various strategic places online. You'll see it show up at the top of my pages because that's who I'm wanting to attract. So once you have clarity around those keywords, then you basically get your web designer, or if you know how to do this, then more power to you, to put it into your website. And then the search engines will pick it up. Now, this takes a while to kick into gear, but if you do it intentionally and you're strategic about it, you'll just be picking up traffic along the way after several months that you wouldn't have picked up otherwise. So it's a good source. It's a solid source. It's usually a very slow moving source. I would actually be very skeptical around anybody that says they're going to get your website up to the front page of Google in 3 days doing SEO. Most of those things are not really sustainable. All right, the next piece here is JVs and affiliates. That's where you have friends of yours or people that you meet at seminars and so forth send out your information for you to their crowd on your behalf. And when people buy your information, then you'll just share with the not junior, but I was going to say junior varsity, with the joint venture person, JV, or with the affiliate. You'll just share your commission with them. And that's the way that relationship generally works. Or sometimes it's a reciprocal situation. So if you email my offer to your list, then I will email your offer to my list. And there's no money exchanging hands. There's just a trade of exposure. But there's several ways to set these up. This is definitely not an affiliate training here, but I want you to know about this because it's some of the best traffic out there. Most people will say this is the best traffic you can get, and it's totally free. All of these things are free. All 4 of these things are free. You might have to pay to learn about search engine optimization, but if you really wanted to, you could find that stuff out. All of these things are free or really low cost. This last one is not free. That's why I would want you to probably do it last and be very cautious with it. But you can buy advertising on Google. You can buy advertising on Facebook, which is really, really powerful. But don't do that stuff until you know what your conversions are. You know that if you're going to spend $1, you're going to make $1, or you're not at least going to lose your shirt, right? So be really cautious when you go into paid advertising. So now we're starting to get traffic to your site. You're starting to get conversions and people are joining your crowd. Now what you've got to do is really maintain the connection with your tribe. And your tribe is basically just your community of seekers, right? We often refer to that as just your tribe. In order to connect with your tribe, you're just going to give to them. You're going to put posts on your blog. You're going to send them articles. You might have an e-zine that goes out. Or you might just send out emails that say, hey, I just wrote this article on blah. Go check it out. Or I just did this video on this. Go check that out. And you send your community to your blog. You're also going to do something very similar to social media. So you put it on your Facebook page. You put it on your Twitter account. You say same thing. I just wrote this article, or check this out. You're just constantly giving, 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 giving. And all of this is wrapped under the umbrella of engage, engage, engage. In today's world especially, we need to engage our tribe. We need them, we want them to respond to our questions. We want them to tell us what they need to know. We want a connection with them. We don't just want to throw a bunch of offers out at them. We don't want to talk at them. We want to talk with them. So everything you do for your tribe, always get them engaged as much as possible. When people join my list, my email list, usually there's an automated email that says, hey, welcome to the family. Listen, why don't you just spend a couple minutes and email me back right now? Just respond to this message and tell me where you are. What's your story? What is it that you want out of this business or this life? And people will respond. And if they respond to me, I'll always respond back. And it creates this interaction that's really powerful going forward. So always, always, always engage. Once all of these are in order, you're going to find this thing that I alluded to earlier, which I called the clicking point. And what the clicking point is what happened to me in late 2006, where something clicked. And when you're doing the exposure that I've talked about, when you're getting the traffic, when you're continuing to talk to your seekers, something's going to click. And it doesn't have to be complicated. Usually, as I said earlier, it's actually really simple. All you need is one product and one source of traffic, or one source of your seeker, wherever you're going to find your seeker, and you can have a six-figure business. It really, truly can be that simple. And most people like, no, I need a book, I need an audio program, I need all these. No. I know people who have one product and they have a seven-figure business because they are committed to that one product. And there's a lot to be said about focusing on one thing and perfecting as best you can this one thing, instead of throwing all these seeds out on the in the soil, and hopefully a bunch of them will take. Well, what if you just spent all your time and energy on one seed? Now, you're probably not going to know what that is in the beginning. You're going to learn what this is based on the way people respond to you, based on how they what they buy and so forth. But I'll tell you, when it clicks, man, it clicks and it's cool. And it's like, all right, I got this thing now. And then I want you to put most of your energy into this one source. And I want you to put most of your energy into improving this one product. You see products nowadays with like 2.0, 3.0. It's because there's constant improvement with one product. And you can have an incredibly significant business with one product and one source. Now, it might not be that easy for you, but it can be. So I can't emphasize enough the concept that the clearer you are and the simpler your business model is, the more powerful your business is going to be, the more certain you're going to be. And I always just like this little phrase called check, choose, and churn. What I mean by that is you're constantly checking in. You're checking in with people, how they like your product. You're looking at the conversions on your websites. You're testing. You're paying attention. And then you're choosing to move differently if need be. You're choosing to change your website pages if you need to. You're choosing to change your product prices if you need to. You're checking and choosing all the time, or testing and tweaking all the time, trying to perfect this whole process. And then you just keep churning. You keep pumping it out. And in this phase, I want you to spend most of your time marketing. This is the phase that I hit in late 2006 and early 2007 when I got clear. My clarity was, I do seminars in the Mary Kay world, and when I do seminars, everything works in my business. So I spent most of my time marketing seminars all over the country. And that year we did more than $320,000 in sales. And it was really the last 9 months of the year. And I don't say that to try to impress you. That money truly doesn't mean anything to me, especially the fact that I didn't keep any of it. After 320 came in, we literally didn't have a dime in our personal account because we had hundreds of thousands of dollars in debt. But the reason I bring that up is not trying to impress you, but I got really clear and I just marketed and marketed and marketed and marketed, and there was simplicity, and it just exploded. So too many people are too convoluted and confused and overwhelmed with too many variables in their business, and that's why they're holding themselves back. That's why I'm so clear. Oh, and one of the things that I did in 2008 that caused the big collapse is I expanded my focus. I tried to help a lot of people at once instead of having clarity on who it is that's seeking my knowledge, and I just became this general practitioner. I didn't have any specialty anymore. I wasn't attractive anymore. I was vague, and vagueness doesn't attract anybody. So we've got to stay committed to the specificity. Now, eventually you can have more than one product, but don't do it until you've really got this down. That would be my biggest piece of advice from a strategic standpoint, is get clear on one thing. And if you can't clear it down to one thing, then make it two things, three things, the absolute most. But the more clear that you can be, and the less things that you can sell, and the less ways that you can sell those things, it's that 80-20 rule. 80% of our effort's going to come from 20% of the things that we do. So it's about focusing on the things that you do that are most effective, and then turn that 20% into 90%. So instead of doing that thing 20% of the time, do that thing 90% of the time, and delegate anything else that can be delegated. And that's when your business is going to take off. So that's the magic clicking point. Now, I don't know when you're going to hit that clicking point. I know it took me several months, but it was because I didn't stop. What I do know is you won't hit the clicking point if you're jumping around this map trying to go forward. You won't hit the clicking point, obviously, if you quit. You will hit the clicking point at some point in time. I don't know when, if you keep going. And then the final piece in this is just an ongoing, constant support system. And you need support on several different levels. Number one, in the marketplace from other people. I mentioned JVs and affiliates that are supporting you getting your message out. But on a personal level, it's really crucial that you have mastermind groups, that you have mentors, you have people that you can talk to, that you're not trying to do this thing on your own. It's incredibly damaging when you go for it on your own. And finally, you need people around you that are going to help support your growth and also give you guidance, whether it's spiritual guidance or tactical informational guidance, strategic guidance, or just emotional guidance. I mean, whatever that is, we all need that, because this game is about constantly evolving in everything, us personally, in our message, in our marketing, everything. So you've got to have that support system clear. And when you follow this map, you guys, you will find a successful business. I can't promise you how long it's going to take. I can't promise you what it's going to look like at the end, but I can promise you, when you put these foundational concepts in place, you will have what you need to have an incredibly successful, sustainable, fulfilling coaching business and training business. And if you try to skip steps, and this is based on 7.5 years of being in this game and over 3 years of helping people start their business, you're going to struggle if you try to skip steps, if you don't complete the phases. So I really want this to be a clear, just do this guide for you to follow. And let me just mention this real briefly. I'm not going to spend too much time on this, but I mentioned earlier that making six figures, it's this magical thing that people have. Making six figures, actually, it's not all that difficult. If you take a look at doing some of the higher level coaching programs at $2,500, I mean, if you spend a year marketing your coaching and you get 40 clients, you're at $100,000. Or if you just marketed a $500 seminar and you got 200 participants, maybe you did 6 seminars throughout the course of the year and you got on average like about 35 people at each seminar. And obviously your marketing is going to get better and it's going to continue growing. That would be $100,000. If you go the product route, you see the number gets a lot higher. You got to make 1,000 sales if you sell $100 product. So part of this, I want you to see that it's doable, but also which one's actually easier. It's way easier to sell 40 things at a higher ticket item if that person is the right kind of person, if they're your seeker, than it is to sell 1,000 things at $100 and all the pieces that need to be in place for you to do that. So I just wanted you to see some concrete examples. And for me, when I really broke it down, I realized, each one of these seems kind of doable. The one that seems less doable is actually the one at the bottom. But you're doing these all together. When you do seminars, you're going to be offering coaching programs. So these are all one funnel, basically, right? And they all work off of each other. You can sell products and coaching at a seminar, but your whole focus is on getting people in the room. Get people at your seminar. Everything else takes care of itself. So that's an example. That's what I did. In 2007, that's what I did. And I don't remember how many seminars we did, 15 to 20 seminars throughout the country and up in Canada. And that's when it was just starting to churn. I mean, I think we sold probably 80 coaching programs that year at $2,500. So this is my personal example. This is not just hypothetical. This is my personal example. And I'm pretty sure we did 70 to 80 sales that year in the last 8 months of the year. So I just wanted you to see some concreteness, but that's it. The $100,000 mark, that's not the end all be all. I don't know where you're at, but just think if you were doing a little bit of all of this, or if you just did half of that, right? I mean, what would that be like to just add an extra 50,000 or 30,000 or whatever that is for you? I just want you to really, think about what you've got in front of you. And I want to share with you this last story here about the pendulum. I love this story. If you imagine that there's a pendulum swing left and the right. To the left there, you can see that that's where the failure lives. That's where fear and risk and doubt lives for most people. And what everybody's wanting is to experience all the success on the right. We want the happiness. We want the comfort. We want the freedom. But whichever way the pendulum swings, it'll swing in the opposite direction equally, right? So if it goes to 7 o'clock to the left, it'll go back to 5 o'clock to the right. But here's the key in this game of entrepreneurship and business. You do not have the ability to swing the pendulum to the right. Although that's what most people are trying to do. They're coming up to this big ball and they're trying to swing it to the right. In other words, they're trying to experience success without risking failure, without risking doubt, without risking risk in general, without risking the discomfort. They're wanting the success without doing the things that are necessary to become successful. And what I want you to remember is you can only push the pendulum to the left. In other words, if you want to be successful, you've got to push the pendulum in the face and in the direction of your fear and in the direction of your doubts and in the direction of all the perceived risk. And if you do that enough, my promise to you is your pendulum will swing back and you will have the success that you're looking for, but not by seeking the success without going after the quote unquote failure. So push the pendulum and get to the point where, I want you to reframe what risk even is, because the only time that we're risking or rather the only time that we're feeling doubt and the only time that we're feeling fear is when we are pushing ourselves beyond our comfort zone. So I want you to welcome all fear. I want you to welcome all doubt. I want you to welcome that discomfort because it's the only way you can grow. And what most people do is they feel the fear and they retreat, or they feel the doubt and they say, oh, well, this must mean that I'm not good enough, or this must mean I should go back. Absolutely not. It means the opposite. When you're getting those self-doubts and those fears, it means you're headed in the right direction. Go further. That's what it's telling you, because all of those fears and doubts live on the edge of your comfort zone. Your doubts line the walls of your comfort zone. So the only time that you're not going to be risking fear and discomfort and doubt is when you're not pushing yourself and you're not growing. So push the pendulum in the face of the fear, and that's the only way to be successful. Now, as we wrap up here, the most important concept I can leave you with is not the tactical stuff. It's not the technological stuff. It's just this: go. Take action, right? You got to go for it. I love these pictures. You got to start pedaling. You got to keep spinning, and you got to jump in. I love this guy. He's like, whatever, let's go. I don't know how to dive, but I want to be in that water. You got to jump in. You've got to take action. It doesn't matter how much information you get, you've got to take action. And I will never promise you that building a business is going to be easy, especially in this industry. But what I will promise you is that it will be worth it. And it's the things along the way, it's the growth along the way, it's the stuff that you never anticipated along the way that will matter to you most anyway. I got this note from one of my clients, Pooja, out in India, and she said, last year I doubled my income. I spoke in front of 1,200 people. I had numerous keynote talks with all kinds of companies all over the place. But what I love about this is that she almost kind of poo-pooed all that tangible, sexy stuff, and she's like, you know what though? Outside of that, I had the time freedom to take a vacation. I had the courage to overcome some of my fears. I went bungee jumping. I went skydiving. But what I cherish the most is becoming a better parent, becoming a better wife, becoming a better daughter in the process, and living a life of joy and peace. And I know that I can do anything that I put my heart to. And this is probably one of my most favorite stories because it's not about the money. It's not about the 1,200 people. It's not about doubling the income. It's about what really matters. It's about that fulfillment. And the more that you're driven by fulfillment, the easier it's going to be to make money. So you really have two choices, and this is in life in general, but definitely as you're building your business, you really have two choices. And one choice is to reinvent the wheel from scratch after spending all kinds of time and energy and money, pouring over all these information products or how to build a business and programs and courses. And you can play a game that statistically speaking is going to be very difficult, or it will take longer than it should take you. Or you can plug into the knowledge that we've already figured out. We've already won this game for you. You can tap into a framework. You can shorten your learning curve. You can eliminate most of those painful and emotional mistakes. You can speed up the journey towards success. You can learn from people who've walked ahead of you. They've already done what you want to do, but most importantly, they've made the mistakes that you want to avoid. That's probably the most powerful trait that you can find in a mentor is somebody who's already stepped on the landmines and can tell you where to go around them, right? That to me, I want my mentor somebody who's sailed rough seas. I want them to be able to help me shorten my learning curve, not just tell me what works, but to tell me what to avoid because it's those mistakes that are going to take us out of the game even faster, especially when money's on the line, right? So I want you to tap into something that's basically already been decided for you. And this is how my marketing mastery for coaches program was created. You're probably sitting here thinking, if I could imagine, you're probably sitting here thinking, it's cool, it looks great, it looks simple. I don't know if I could do it, or it feels like a lot of stuff. You might have some doubts that are creeping in, or what have you. As simple as I try to make this, there are a lot of things to do, and a lot of people still have doubt about. I really don't see it happening. I don't know if I can actually do it, and so forth. And I mean, I can relate to that. I've been there. I know those challenges. I remember what it's like to build a business, and what I've created here is basically the program that I wish I would have had when I was young. I wish I would have had a game plan. I wish I would have had a roadmap because those skulls and crossbones for me, those were bankruptcy. Those were $50,000 losses when I tried to go up into Canada and do, these series of events and created all these products. Those were the emotional pitfalls. One of these was spending too much time away from my family until I felt disconnected from them. And then I retreated. I've got so much pain mixed into, those skulls and crossbones. And I want to help you avoid that stuff. And I want to give you as much as I possibly can to just do this approach so I can walk side by side with you, so I can have my team help you along the way in your journey so that you can shorten your learning curve, get there faster, get the certainty that you want, and really have a few things. I got a little dorky here and I put some of these super cool transitions. And I thought it was cool because the map looks like it was kind of burned anyway. But my company is all about helping you get results. It's not about selling you something. It's about helping you get results after you've joined the community. So we put tons of intention and time and energy into support. You're going to get a lot of guidance from me personally, from my team, from the community. And the bottom line is we are focused almost entirely on implementation. None of this stuff matters if you don't implement. So I put more of my time and energy and money and all resources on implementation. How can we help people implement the information? The information is not important. The implementation of the information is the only thing that matters. So we have designed this program with basically one thing in mind. How can we help people go? And how can we help people get around the fears, the challenges, the emotional stuff? How can we make it easier for them? How can we set up a support system for them? And how can we get results? And how can we help people start serving those seekers? So let me tell you about this marketing mastery for coaches, if this is speaking to you. What makes this program different are a few things. Number one, this is an extension of heart-centered transformational work. And this is a lifelong community of transformation from the inside out, not from the outside in. Most people are trying to transform their life from the outside in, but this is about inside out. And this is also about coaches. I don't care about, teaching anything to authors. I don't know that game. I don't care about teaching anything to people who just are going to go out and get keynote talks. I don't know that game. I care about teaching coaches coaching. I care about teaching marketing to coaches who are marketing coaching services, right? Because a lot of times what happens is you go out and you buy a program that's on sales, but the person who's selling the program is selling a sales program to salespeople. And they're not selling a coaching program. So sometimes there has to be a translation that happens. Like, how do I take this content and make it, how does that fit into if I'm selling a coaching program? Now, some of the concepts are certainly going to apply, but some of them don't. If you're selling something in the real estate market, that's not the same thing as selling transformational coaching packages. So everything we have here is a just for coaches spin. And I alluded several times, this is a just do this sequential approach. I want you to do step A, then step B, then step C, and I don't want you to jump ahead. If you can just stay with us, you'll be fine. And we will help get you where you want to go way faster than if you were to try to go the quick and easy route, right? This is a simple approach. It's a layered approach strategically from the ground up so that you can implement, right? And I already mentioned most of the things that I spend my resources and energy on are implementation. And you're going to get work completed. That's the thing. I've got 2 events in this mastering program, and I'll tell you about them in a second. And these events are about completion. These events are not about you learning information and you going home and having to implement it. These events are about you completing information. And if you want information on the website, you can go there. I'm going to walk you through this here in a moment. But if you want to jump on the website, it's fulltimecoachproject.com / oh, you know what? That's wrong. This is, you know what? I did not change the slide. We had some challenges with our website, and we had to build a new website, which meant that this got changed. So this is the website. It is MMC-2. I know it's kind of weird, but we had to make a change in the last moment. So the website is fulltimecoachproject.com / MMC the number 2. And you can go there and get a little bit more information, or a lot more information actually, on this program. But let me tell you a little bit more about this program. Some of the high-level logistics. We're talking about a couple mastermind events. So you would spend 10 days with us. You would spend 2 5-day experiential, implementational mastermind events with us where you're going to get work done. You're not going to learn how to do work and then go home and have to do the work. You're actually going to get work done. I will bring my video cameras. I will bring my audio equipment. I will bring my lighting, and we're going to do videos in the room. We'll get you on a teleconference call, and you're going to do teleseminars in the room. You're going to walk away with audio programs done. You're going to walk away with videos done for your website. You're going to walk away with these campaign strategies done. You're going to walk away with things already in motion so that when you go home, it's not about turning the key in the ignition on. It's about putting the pedal down to the floor. The ignition's already on. You're already in motion. In between the events, there are some things that you're going to do to where when you show up, your website's already ready to be edited. Your website's already ready to turn on. We're ready to start putting, autoresponders in. We're ready to start getting your messages on. In between the events, before the event, in between, and after the events, my team is going to be helping you in the form of video tutorials, in the form of follow-up calls, in the form of one-on-one help you be ready so that when you come to this event, 5 days from now, we're gonna spend 50 hours in these rooms or somewhere about that. Imagine spending 50 hours on getting stuff done, not learning and then having to implement later. So session number 1 is coming up quick. It's about 6-7 weeks away. It's April 29th through May 3rd. It's a Monday through Friday, and it's in Denver, Colorado. And basically what we're doing is we are walking you through that whole map. That whole map that I was talking about, that's what we're doing. We're walking you through this map right here. We're walking you through this. If you show up, if you commit, and when you show up at our 2 events, you will be guided through this entire treasure map. All you've got to do is stick with us. Listen, stick with us. We'll be there. We'll be arm in arm. We'll be holding your hand. We'll be answering any questions. All you got to do is keep up, stick with us, and we're going to go as fast as you need to go. It's not like, everybody's going to have all these things done in a 2-week period of time. We totally know everybody's on their own pace. We will be there every step of the way. We'll go as fast as you need to go or as slow as you need to go, but all you've got to do is keep going. Listen, my commitment to you is to repave the road for your new business. That's one of the downsides of putting transitions in your slides. It's harder to jump forward. So my commitment is to really repave the road for your new business and get you with these foundational concepts in motion, ready to go, so that you can build your business. So these are the dates. April 29th through May 3rd. It's in Denver, Colorado, the first one. The second one is in Orlando. Last year, we ended with a trip to Disney World. We'll probably do that again. We got a lot of fun. These are really intimate events, easy to follow along with. But listen, like I said, you're going to come out with products in hand. We're going to do this. Webinars is one of the best things you can do. We're going to have you do a webinar in the room where we can help guide you through the process. Now, if you want to do a live webinar, actually sell something, even better. But we're at least going to have you do a 10 to 15 minute practice webinar where you're live like we are now, and you get the feeling of being in session live on the internet. What are some of the mistakes that you can't afford to make? How can you position? How can you run through slides? How can you do all that stuff? We'll do similar things with teleseminars. We'll do, so much of the videos and all that stuff that I was saying. My intention is that at the end of these two weekends or these 2 weeks, you've got a business in motion and ready to go. And we're also doing monthly support and mentorship calls for the entire year, so I can help you any way that I possibly can. If you need our support, I will be on those phones. My team will be available also in between the calls to answer questions. We are fully and deeply committed to helping you move through this process as quickly as you can. So that's the high-level logistics. The website gives a little bit more, but basically it's that marketing map come to life. That's what it is. That's the whole reason why we put this program together, is because we said, where would people need to be in a year? And that's what our commitment to you is. We're going to get you there. We're going to take you there in a year. This is where you're going to end up. We're going to walk you through that marketing map. Now, let me tell you about a few of the bonuses, because these are some really, really powerful bonuses. The first bonus is you're going to get a customizable marketing machine for coaches website that's already been optimized for online conversions based on years and years and years of testing specifically for coaches. If you already have a website, you can use this in certain products, like in certain niches if you wanted to do that, or you could just take the principles and make sure that your website is aligned with some of these principles. But this by itself is a $3,000 website that I paid a guy to create a template So each and every one of us as a coaching business has a template, and we're starting with all the things that we need and none of the things that we don't need. And then you can customize it. You can change anything and everything on the site. You can add tabs. You can take tabs away. But this marketing machine website is really, really powerful. I want you to start with the baseline of what you absolutely need to create a business, and then you can build from there. On top of that, you're going to get a 1-hour consultation with Mark, who's the web designer that built the template, and he can help you with strategy. He can help you with moving some of the things around, with customizing some of the site. You can use his 1 hour however you want. That's going to be just a bonus, no extra charge to you. You're going to get access to my full-time coach project. And what that is a series of 15, actually 16 modules, webinars and teleseminars with all the foundational principles. A lot of it is really focused on those pre-marketing things that I was talking about. The first 6 steps in this business, or in this treasure map that I was telling you about, is pre-marketing. It's before you should go out there and do a lot of the marketing stuff. It's about finding clarity. It's about, really aligning your strategic processes and your flow and understanding the consultation and all that stuff that I mentioned on the treasure map. You're going to get all that handled in the full-time coach project. So you can be up to speed by the time we get to Denver, or we'll just meet you wherever you are. It's not like you have to be a certain place by the time you get to Denver. One of the things that's going to happen in Denver and Orlando is we're going to split up, and we're going to split people up into groups according to where they are and what they need help with. So maybe I take a group of 5 people over here, and Jackie takes a group of some other people, or somebody else on our team takes a group, or maybe there's going to be some individual time where you and I will just spend time maybe for a half hour, and we just work on whatever it is that we need to work on. So I say that because I don't want you to think that everybody's going to be in the same place and we're going to move everybody the same way in the same steps over the course of those 5 days. That's totally unrealistic. And I just think if you do that, you're going to lose most of the people because not everybody's on the same page. So it's going to be completely focused on where you are, and we're going to decide what we do according to what people need, right? And build people, create groups and stuff like that. Another thing that's going to be in this program is a lot of masterminding and spotlighting. So you're going to have the chance to share where you are in your business, and other people are going to be able to, give you ideas or create JV partners or what have you, and maybe just help you get through some of the stickiness that you might be on, give you ideas that you might not be thinking of, and whatever. Just outside the box spotlights. That's one of the most valuable pieces of any mastermind program. So you're going to get the full-time coach project. You're also going to get I don't know if I've ever been as excited about an event as I am about Captivate Your Crowd. You're going to get a ticket to this 5-day speakers training event that I'm running with 2 of my best friends and 2 of the best speakers that I know in the industry. One of them, many of you know, his name is Romeo Marquez Jr., and he just lights up the stage no matter where he goes. And the other guy's name is Tony McGee. He's actually my biggest mentor in this business. In my opinion, he's the best speaker out there. And the 3 of us are going to get together, and we're going to spend 5 days breaking down a lot of the myths that people are holding on to with speaking. But our whole goal for you is for you to become alive, for you to captivate your crowd, for you to become compelling, for you to be able to sell, for you to be comfortable on stage, for you to, just become more effective speaking anywhere, whether it's actually on stage or it's in front of a boardroom or whatever it is. That event's going to be so powerful. That's at the end of July. I didn't put the dates on there. That's July 22nd through the 26th. And if you can't make that, you can just come to any of our events in the future for the same thing. So it's not a one-time only thing. I'm going to give you all of my personal development products for free. I literally have over 100 personal development audio programs that I've been doing over the last 7 years. You can use them for yourself because the inner game is one of the things that stops most people, or you can use them to model, right? I mean, maybe it helps you design your own programs. You can see the way that we package things. You can see the way that I talk on the seminar or on the teleseminar, whatever it is. It'll help you in some way, shape, or form, and it's definitely well over $1,000. We're going to give you 12 free months in my monthly subscription membership program called the Eagles Club. It's a $444 value. Again, it will help you as a person, as an entrepreneur, but it'll also be a great model for you to follow. You're going to get lifetime access to all related upgrades, especially anything that we do with the marketing machine, any software upgrades. You're going to get all related upgrades. You're going to get lifetime access to all forums that we ever have, all support communities that we ever have going forward. You're going to get access to all of that stuff forever. You're going to get early announcements on all of our programs and all of our products and so forth. I don't have the total here, but I think the total of all the bonuses is well over $7,000. But there's a couple of fast action taker bonuses. I like to call them fat bonuses. The fat bonuses I have up for grabs for the first 5 people to jump in. And for the first 5 people, here's what you're going to get. Take a look at this first one. You're going to get anytime and always access to all marketing mastery events that I do from now until the day I stop breathing. So from this point forward, forever, you can always come back. Once you're in this community, you have a lifetime ticket for the first 5 people. You have a lifetime ticket to come back anytime. Now, here's why that's so important. This is why I'm so excited about this for you, because marketing changes constantly. The stuff I teach this year will not be the exact same as the stuff I teach next year, let alone where we'll be as an industry with technology 5 years from now. So imagine having a forever pass to come back and learn and implement, and wherever you are in that moment in your life, just get back into that phase of doing and continuing to expand your business. So for the first 5 people to register, you're going to get an anytime and always access to all marketing mastery events that I have forever in the future. And then the second thing you're going to get, this almost sounds like it's nothing compared to that one. But what I want to do is I want to spend some time with you on the phone one-on-one for an hour, either before the events, before we get to Denver, or during, not during, but in between the events, so that I can just help you however I can. And if I was going to sell just a one-on-one, for an hour and that's it, not with another coaching program, that would be $1,000 value. So anyway, if this is really speaking to you, you want to jump on and grab one of the fat bonuses and get any time and always access to all marketing events going forward. And of course, I've got a guarantee. Here's my guarantee. My guarantee is that you will triple your investment. You will triple your investment, or if you don't triple your investment, I'm going to coach you for free. So when you implement what we teach in the marketing mastermind, or in the marketing mastery for coaches program, like I said, you just got to keep up, folks. Don't quit. Do what we're teaching. Take our guidance and keep up. And not even keep up from a speed perspective. Just keep up with the content. Just keep going. If you keep up with the content, I personally guarantee you will make at least $15,000 in gross income. It is impossible. I cannot fathom anybody not doing that if you do these things. If you don't, then listen, I'm going to jump in and I will coach you personally for free until you do. So when you commit to this program, you're basically guaranteeing $15,000, which is triple your investment. So naturally, you can probably tell the investment on this program is only $4,997, just barely shy of $5,000. There's also a payment plan, if that helps for you, where it's just under $1,800 times 3. So if you're committed to your business, to your growth, to your seeker, to your mission, then let us help. And if I'm on board, we're doing this thing. There's no way that I'm locking arms with you and we're not going to get this thing done. And if we can't during the course of this program with my help, then I will personally coach you for free until we do that. So that's my promise to you. That's my invitation to you. I've got a couple questions on here. One of them is put the website back up. Did it change? So the website is, let me see it. Oh, you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to type the website in because I can get that to you faster, and then you should be able to just grab it right from, whoops, I just sent it to only one person. You should be able to grab this right from the chat area here. And what it is fulltimecoachproject.com/MMC-2. So I just sent it on chat to everybody. MMC-2. Got a question. I want to visit you with your program. I have a lot of things in place. I know I couldn't do the Colorado thing, maybe September. So yeah, if you can't do the Colorado deal, remember, we're going to do everything we possibly can. There's going to be training in between. We're going to help you as much as we can, implement whatever we can in between. If you can't do Colorado, you have, especially if you're one of the first 5, you've got anytime and forever access. So you just come back next year, right? You can come do the Orlando deal. We'll help you wherever you're at, even if it means spending individual time. I mean, that's my commitment to you. If I have to spend individual time with you in Orlando or in Denver because you're not where everybody else is, I'll do that with you, or somebody on my team will do that with you. That's my commitment to you. So if it's speaking to you, even if you can't make the Denver, I think it can still, definitely help you out. Let's see. There's a question on the guarantee. How much time is the guarantee? The time for the guarantee is a year. So when you implement what we teach in the mastermind program, the mastery program, and if you don't make $15,000 in gross income in the first year, then I'll start coaching you for free. So it's basically, you invest the 5K, you're getting 15 back, either on your own in the program or with my help by my side, and it'll happen. So I think that's the last. Looks like that's the last question I have. Oh, you know what? I might have just deleted somebody's question. So if I did not address your question, I might have just deleted it. So you can go ahead and send it back in. So let me wrap up with this mission. I told you before that I'm on a mission, and I want to create 1,000 full-time, highly successful coaches who are really fulfilling their life's purpose by bringing their message into this world. And if that's you and I can help, then, let's go for it. If this is not for you, I get it. I hope the information on some level has been beneficial. It can help, over the course of your life or your business. And if that's it, then, cool. But if this is for you, if it really resonates with you and you really want to, step forward here, then let's go. Here's my cool little transition, right? I don't know if it's coming through for you guys like this. Then let's go. So here's the real significant question that I would invite you to ask, whether you're thinking about my program that's on the table right now, or you're thinking about anything that you think of doing in your entire life, especially things that require an investment of time, energy, and money. The significant question is not what is the cost of taking action, but that's what most people think about. They think about how much is it going to cost, how much time is it going to take, what are the sacrifices that I need to make, and they focus on all the bad stuff, all the sacrifices. But really the significant question that all really super highly successful people that I know ask themselves is, what's the cost of not taking action? So whatever that looks like for you, however that lands for you, that's what I would invite you to ask yourself. Here's that wrong website once again. Let me fix that for you. The website is -2 at the end. So if this is speaking to you, you can go to that website. Oh, the free recording. To get your free recording and the persuasion templates is really simple. All you got to do is email me, Sean@coachseansmith.com, with the subject line, recording and template, please. And I'll get the attachment back to you, and I'll get a link to you when the recording is ready. It's not immediately ready because I've got to edit it. I've got to, make sure this got recorded and take the audio off and send it out to you. But I'll get it to you as quickly as I can. And I will get you the persuasion template ASAP. I might be able to get that to you even faster than the audio. So if that's speaking to you, let's go for it. If you guys have any questions, now's the time to ask. If you have any questions on any of the information that I gave with the treasure map, or the logistics of the program, or the transitions I did on the webinar, anything at all, let me know. If we can, serve you and help you, navigate your way along your own personal treasure map and get your business rolling, then we'd love to serve you in that way. Anybody have any questions, or are we full? Cool. Well, if there's no questions, then I'm going to go ahead and end the call. If it was valuable for you, at least, just raise your hand. Just let me know that you're still here and it was valuable on some level. Cool. Great. So, okay, a question just came in. Let me see. Oh, thank you so much. My hand is raised. Uh, do you have a question there? I'm going to send you a quick email specifically to you. If you have a question, go ahead and just type it in. Or maybe you're just raising your hand just to give me that feedback. Okay, cool. So just to give me feedback. I'm full, but what's for dessert? Denver and Orlando are for dessert, man. Yeah, we can get kind of corny on that, but the dessert is really the richness and the fulfillment. Like Pooja said, it's about being a better mom. It's about being a better parent. It's about being closer to your kids, and it's about really expanding that message and transformation for other people in the world too. And that's why I get really passionate about this, because other people need our help. There are a lot of people out there who really need us to step forward and be that guiding light for them. So if you're that kind of person and you want to answer that calling, then I just honor that so much. I think it's the most noble thing that we can do. So if you do have any questions that hit you after we're done with this webinar here, or if you're listening to the recording, you can email me at that same email address, Sean@coachseansmith.com. And hopefully we'll see you in Denver. Take care, everybody. I'll talk to you soon.